Charlie and Peter Pan's Brave Adventure in Neverland. Once upon a time, in a magical place called Neverland, there lived a boy named Peter Pan. Peter Pan was known for his passion for flying and his love for chocolate cake. His best friend was a tiny, sparkling fairy named Tinkerbell. Despite their many adventures, they always had to be on the lookout for their enemy, the infamous Captain Hook. But this story is not just about Peter Pan, it's also about a brave little boy named Charlie. Charlie was a 6-year-old boy with a heart full of courage. One night, as Charlie was drifting off to sleep, he heard a soft tapping on his window. He opened his eyes to see a boy with a mischievous grin and a fairy with wings that glowed like stars. "Hello, Charlie," said the boy. "I'm Peter Pan, and this is Tinkerbell. We've come to take you on an adventure to Neverland." Charlie couldn't believe his eyes. "Neverland? Really?" he asked, his eyes wide with excitement. "Yes," Peter Pan exclaimed. "All you have to do is believe and think of the happiest thoughts. Then, with a little sprinkle of pixie dust, we can fly." Charlie thought of his favorite things, playing with his friends, eating chocolate cake, and spending time with his family. Suddenly, he felt a warm sensation and his feet lifted off the ground. He was flying. The three of them flew out of Charlie's window and soared through the night sky. The stars twinkled brightly as they made their way to Neverland. Below them, Charlie could see the sparkling waters and lush forests of this magical land. They landed softly on the shores of Neverland, and Peter Pan turned to Charlie. "Welcome to Neverland. Here, you can have endless adventures. But be careful, Captain Hook is always plotting mischief." Charlie nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. He couldn't wait to explore and meet the other inhabitants of Neverland. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they came across a group of lost boys. They were playing and laughing, but their fun was interrupted by the sound of Captain Hook's ship horn. The lost boys' faces turned serious. "It's Captain Hook," shouted one of the boys. "He's up to no good again." Peter Pan's eyes narrowed. "We need to stop him. Charlie, are you ready for an adventure?" Charlie took a deep breath and nodded. "Yes, I'm ready." With Tinkerbell leading the way, they made their way to Captain Hook's ship. The ship was anchored by a rocky shore, and they could see Captain Hook pacing back and forth on the deck, plotting his next move. Peter Pan turned to Charlie. "We need to be brave. Captain Hook is tricky, but with courage and teamwork, we can outsmart him." Charlie felt a surge of determination. "Let's do it." They waited until nightfall, then crept onto the ship. Tinkerbell used her tiny size to fly ahead and scout the area. She returned with a plan. "Captain Hook keeps the key to the treasure chest in his cabin," she whispered. "If we can get the key, we can take the treasure and use it to help the lost boys." Peter Pan and Charlie nodded. They quietly made their way to Captain Hook's cabin. The door creaked as they opened it, and they saw the key hanging on a hook by the bed. Peter Pan grabbed the key, but just as they were about to leave, Captain Hook burst into the room. "Aha! Caught you, Peter Pan," he sneered. Peter Pan and Charlie stood their ground. "We're not afraid of you, Captain Hook," Peter Pan said bravely. With a swift move, Peter Pan darted past Captain Hook, and Charlie followed closely behind. They ran back to the deck and called out to Tinkerbell. "Fly, Tink! Fly!" Peter Pan shouted. Tinkerbell sprinkled pixie dust over Peter Pan and Charlie, and they soared into the air. Captain Hook chased after them, but he couldn't fly. He shook his fist angrily as they escaped. They flew back to the lost boys and showed them the treasure. The lost boys cheered, and Peter Pan handed the key to Charlie. "You were brave, Charlie. We couldn't have done it without you," Peter Pan said with a smile. Charlie felt proud. It was an amazing adventure. Tinkerbell flew over and sprinkled some more pixie dust on Charlie. It's time to take you back home, but remember, you'll always be welcome in Neverland. Charlie nodded and thanked Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. He closed his eyes and thought of his happy thoughts again. In no time, he was back in his bedroom, tucked into bed. As he drifted off to sleep, he knew that he had made friends in Neverland and learned the true meaning of bravery. No matter what challenges he faced, he knew he could handle them with courage and the support of his friends. And so, Charlie's adventure in Neverland came to an end, but he knew that the memories would stay with him forever. And who knew? Maybe one day, he would fly back to Neverland for another adventure with Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and the Lost Boys. Good night, Charlie. Dream of flying high and being brave, just like Peter Pan.
Created by a kid and their parent using Talebot, click the link in the video description to create your own story.